Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, California Resources Corporation, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, and the San Luis Obispo County Office of Education, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.
We are at CALM with Andrew Adams, animal keeper. Hi, Andrew. How are you doing today?
Hello, good morning. I'm good.
And can you tell us exactly where we are located right now at CALM?
Yeah, so we are at the Condor exhibit right now in the north end of CALM.
Okay, and how long has the Condor exhibit been here?
Well, that exhibit is fairly new. It's opened about a year, last year.
Okay, and you are an animal keeper, correct? Is that your title?
Yes.
And what does that entitle?
So I'm an animal keeper, and I mostly take care of the raptor species here, as well as the bighorn sheep and the cats of California.
So what does that all entail?
So I manage pretty much their daily feeding and cleaning of all of those species.
Okay. Now, with the Condors, it's pretty special. It's only been here for about a year, is that correct?
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about what's happening here with our Condors?
All right, so these two condors here, we have 324 and 250, and these two birds are critically endangered species that we are allowed to exhibit here, and these two weren't able to be released into wild either because being too friendly or because of having an injury in 250's case.
Now, we were talking a little bit earlier about the Condors. Back in 1987, you were telling me something about them being pulled.
Yeah, so in 1987, the wild population was only at 22 individuals, and they were pulled from the wild and placed into a captive breeding program to essentially to save the species from extinction.
So what was causing that?
So there were a number of factors causing that, poisoning from chemicals and lead, as well as from the birds eating trash. But one of the things that inhibited some of their survival is the fact that they just have a low reproductive rate, so the death rate was too high compared to their reproductive
and
rates.
Then in a little bit, we are going to be talking about the growth in the population. What kind of special, now these both have been in captivity their entire lives, correct?
Yes.
And where did they come from?
So these two came to us originally from the Portland Zoo where they were housed, but before that they were bred at a facility in Boise.
Okay. What special thing do you find about them? Because you're feeding them and kind of taking care of them. What special thing do you see all the time with them?
Well, they're very interesting. They have interesting personalities. They're very large birds, and when you look at them throughout the day, they kind of communicate by changing the colors of their face, inflating or deflating their skin. So it's just very interesting to watch all the unique behaviors that they have.
I know, I was really shocked when we came around the corner. They're really quite large in comparison to the other birds. They're really big, and then there's like no fear. They were like right there and just staring at us.
Yes.
Now you were saying on 324, correct? Because they don't have names. 324, they let him out, right?
Yes.
And so they had to bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, the story's kind of funny.
Yes, so he was released in the Tehachapi mountain range area, and he was found around Gorman because they migrate throughout the mountains, and he was found close to Gorman, and he was at a gas station bothering people, harassing them, and he had to be captured and taken out of the wild.
I can't imagine going to get gas and that coming at me to take my food out of my hands. That could have been pretty scary. Okay, so we have a lot more to talk about the birds. So when we come back, we're going to see some numbers on the growth from the 22 in 1987 to see what they are. We are back at the California Living Museum with Andrew Adams, an animal keeper here at CALM, and we are in the Condor section. And now we were talking about their numbers because they're not named. And this guy, he's like my favorite. He's just like watching us the whole time. And his number's 324. Can you, Andrew, tell us a little bit more what that signifies? Why do they not have names?
Only very special individuals in the program have names, some of the founding members. But these particular ones, the number signifies a stud book number. So you see the number 24, and then the color corresponds with the 100th digit. So he would be number 324. And then the other one doesn't have his wing tag on because he's non-flighted. So he wouldn't, those tags are used to help the biologists and the people tracking them see them better in the air.
Okay, and you were talking a little bit about the number, there's a special name for that. What was that called again?
Yeah, so the numbers, 324 would be, and 250, that would be their stud book numbers. And that's a numbering system that is used for the captive breeding program. And they're assigned those numbers, and then their lineages are carefully tracked. And the reason that we have two males here that are not part of the captive breeding program anymore is because they're overrepresented. So they're overrepresented genetically.
Okay, so they're not going to be breeding anymore.
Correct.
Okay, and then that little guy over there, or big guy I should say, he's the one that he doesn't have a number because he's injured, correct?
Yes.
So
he wouldn't be able to fly anymore, so he doesn't have the wing tag currently.
Okay, so we were talking about back in 1987, they pulled in 22 birds. And you have some numbers for us, right?
Yes.
What it looks like now. What are the numbers now? Can we see?
Sure. So now we have the total population for 2016 is 446, and the wild population is 276, and the captive population is 170.
Wow, just looking at this, and obviously you said that this was from last year.
Yes.
So now this year when they do the numbers, there'll be a lot more, right?
Correct.
Okay, but that's just total population, 446. That's pretty amazing. When you think about that, my students at my school, we have like 700 kids at our school. That's not even there. That's, that's like a very small elementary school. That's quite a small for a world population. Wow. Now let's kind of talk about their food. How different is the condors versus the bald eagles? Now the bald eagles, if we could see, he's like right there. He's next to them. How different is their feedings?
The feedings are a little bit different because the condors will sometimes get a carcass feed. That's beneficial for them, so their food's not specifically measured as much as, say, the bald eagles would to track their weight.
Okay, now is the food the same though, or is it different types?
They all eat different types of meat. The condor will pretty much eat any type of meat. We give him sometimes whole carcasses of maybe calves or goats, as well as rats and chicken and other types of meat.
Calves and goats that big?
Sometimes.
Wow. And then what about the bald eagle?
Bald eagle eats similar but also more fish in the diet.
Oh, okay. That's pretty interesting. Now you were saying that sometimes you only feed them once a week.
Yeah, sometimes we offer them food usually every day with a fast day during the week, but this time of year we're working on training them to go into a small area so they can go about a week or even 2 weeks without eating. If they don't go into their area to lock up, then we'll pull the diet until they cooperate.
So is that the area right there?
Yes.
So you're training them to go in there to
Yes, we have to train them to go in there for management purposes. Once a year they have to have a physical exam. check the tag and give them a West Nile vaccine.
Okay. Now, with the bald eagle, feed him daily?
Yes, on the same schedule, they'll have 1 day per week where they fast.
Okay, wow, really interesting how the difference is. And you have to keep a schedule, don't you, on all these birds and their feeding habits and all that?
Yeah, we monitor that closely because with the animals, sometimes they're very good at masking being injured or illnesses, but one of the ways that you can maybe see that something might be wrong is if they're not eating or they're leaving more leftovers. That
Okay.
could be an indicator. So we monitor that very closely.
All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk more about the condors and also volunteering here at CALM. We are back at the California Living Museum with Andrew, an animal keeper here, and we just left the condors, and we've been talking about these beautiful bald eagles, as you can see behind us. Can you give us a little history about them? Because the condors are both male, correct?
Yes.
And these are both female.
Yes.
Okay. And what is the history behind that?
So these two birds, their names are Spirit and Lassen, and they've been here for close to 20 years. The two birds there are probably about 28 or 29 years old. And Spirit is missing an eye. She can fly, but because she's missing the right eye, she might have trouble with depth perception and was non-releasable. And then Lassen, unfortunately, has partial amputation to the wing. She had a gunshot injury, and part of her wing had to be amputated.
Was that before you got her here?
Yeah, so she came in with they came in with the injuries.
And so, and they've been here almost 30 years.
Probably about 20 years or so for both of them.
How old, do you guys know how old they were prior to that?
They were young adults, maybe 6 or so years old.
How long do they live?
They might be able to live up to 40.
What about the condors?
We don't really know. There are condors that are over 60 in captivity at the LA Zoo.
Oh, wow. Now, you said their feeding is the fish, correct? More fish?
Yeah, so the bald eagle is a fishing eagle. They like to eat a lot of fish. You've probably seen videos of them swooping down in the lakes and pulling fish, but they'll eat other things too, even things like squirrels on the side of the road and things like that. But they like a lot of fish.
They are really pretty, especially her up there up on that perch. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about your position. What brought you here?
Well, I always liked animals from a young age, and I started volunteering here about 13 years ago. And then I was able to get a part-time job and work part-time for a year, and then I was qualified for the full-time position.
What made you qualified? Did you have to go to college or take any classes?
That's one of the requirements for my position, but because I had experience from volunteering and from working for over a year, I was qualified.
So you're obviously from Bakersfield then, correct?
Yes.
So as a kid, you came here and started helping out.
Yeah, I visited as a child and really liked the facility, and then when I was a little bit older, teenager, I volunteered here.
Where did you start as a volunteer?
I started working in the children's park with the goats and the sheep and cleaning up after them.
And after that, where did you move on to?
After that, it's been a long time. I don't remember exactly all the places, but probably I do remember working with some of the educational birds, some of our ambassador birds.
What was your favorite thing when you volunteered to do?
I liked to work with the birds, but also just interact with some of the animals. I like all the animals, even the donkey and the donkeys and the little horse, all of them.
That's pretty amazing. I've been out here a couple years, and I think you're the first person I've met that has volunteered as a teenager and then continued and is working here now. If somebody was interested in coming here and working here, what would you suggest to them? What path would they need to take?
If they're interested in volunteering, or?
Well, first volunteering.
So volunteering, the requirements are, if you're 13 to 16, you volunteer with an adult, and then from 16 and up, fill out a volunteer application.
And just come on out.
Yes.
Is it usually weekends, after schools?
Anytime.
Wow. Okay.
from normal zoo hours, which would be 9 to 4.
Now, working here, what path would they need to take if they wanted to be employed here?
Well, for zookeeping, it's actually a pretty competitive field. So I got lucky in that I was able to obtain a position without finishing my degree. But there are a lot of people that we've seen that have had higher educational degrees, bachelor's or even master's. So that would be a good place to start as far as majoring in zoology, biology, and even for some positions, psychology, because we work with training animals as well. So animal behavior is a path you could take as well.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. And I want to give you this. This is a big thank you from us for allowing us to come out here and taking your time and walking us around and showing the condors and these beautiful bald eagles. And again, thank you, Andrew, so much.
You.
And so that's it from Calm today.
Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, California Resources Corporation, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, and the San Luis Obispo County Office of Education, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.